Hey everybody, welcome to Sub at the Pub, coming to you from the shores of the Sleeping Giant. I am the Barstool Substitute. It's been a long time since I sent anything out that included my voice, but I figured it was time to jump back into it, so let's kick it off. This was going to be a larger podcast, but I decided to split it up into a two-parter. Reason for that being because the portion covering the Canadian women's national team is a bit more pressing as they play this evening. Tonight, they are up against Mexico, the second of two games. They played their first game on the 27th. So tonight is at 7:30 Eastern. Excuse me, no, 5:30 Eastern. Uh, that will be broadcast on One Soccer. The previous game, I think, was exclusively on the One Soccer YouTube channel. Tonight's game is on both One Soccer and the One Soccer YouTube channel, which is free to everybody. So look for that. Watch the game. It's going to be pretty good. Just a quick note that there are some pictures and some videos throughout that are only being used for educational purposes and to illustrate the players and their abilities. There is no monetary gain to be had by their use. On the 27th, last Saturday, they suffered a loss to Mexico 2-1. It was a low stakes game. The loss is not affecting their standing internationally. They are far enough ahead of seventh place Brazil that this result doesn't matter. And the game kind of felt like they knew that and they were playing that way. It just seemed a bit slow. Uh, that being said, there was some positives that I wanted to get to. We saw a couple of new players receiving their first national team caps. First being 25-year-old Victoria Pickett. She was in the starting 11. This was her first appearance with the squad. She's a midfielder with Kansas City, the Kansas City Current in the WSL. And she's actually this year, she's a finalist for League Rookie of the Year. So I'm gonna be following that along, see how she develops. That's pretty good. She was part of the squad that played a pair of friendlies against Brazil and Czech Republic in the summer, but she didn't see the field during those games. Nikayla Small was also uh, new to the squad. Well, this was actually her second call up, I believe. But she was on the bench. She stayed stapled there for this game. She's a freshman out of Wake Forest. Also on the bench, defender Ashley Cathro and Swedish-born midfielder Amanda West. They had their first senior call-ups. They're both juniors in the NCAA system with University of Illinois and University of Pittsburgh, respectively. The other first senior cap is one I'm most excited about. That's Coila Class. She's a standout with Benfica in Portugal, um, and she just committed to the Canadian program. She had been being courted by the Icelandic team. She's also a citizen of Iceland. She's a bit older than most new caps. She's 28 years old, but I think, I'm not the only one. She's definitely a great transition in this squad between outgoing Christy Sinclair, who is 38 years old, and Jordan Heidema coming up, who's touted as the heir apparent, and she has the skill to be, but she's significantly younger. So Chloe is kind of that in between. And domestically with Benfica, she's sitting on 39 goals in 37 matches played. I believe that's her stat line. She's a major asset to the club, and she will come into our squad as a firecracker for sure. So again, the women are taking on Mexico again tonight at 5:30. It's in Mexico. It's streamed on One Soccer, so look for that. I know there's been a lot of discontent surrounding this, the times of the games, the fact that the broadcasting was such a mess. And I think what we have to remember is I think it's a bit misplaced to be crapping all over Canada Soccer, CSA, and One Soccer for this. Remember that these games are in Mexico. Canada Soccer used to have to pay broadcasters to carry their games. One Soccer came along, Media Pro came along, but they only own the rights to the home games for the national teams. So because these games are in Mexico, it's the Mexican Federation that has to set up the broadcast, and then One Soccer would negotiate rights to show it. So it took a long time for the announcement of any sort of broadcasting from the Mexican Federation, and then there was this mad scramble to actually get it on the air. So they were doing their best. Let's keep that in mind, right? Everybody who's saying, "Oh, I'm done with the CSA," or "I'm done with One Soccer," and they promised us this and promised us that. They promised us home games, right? Keep that in mind. So we are lucky to be getting any sort of away game in this situation. These last minute matches. So I'm actually extremely happy that they are airing as they are, and I look forward to this. Other news, I saw Thomas Neff report yesterday that on the 22nd of January, which is about 5 days before we resume our um, World Cup qualifying matches down in Honduras, Canada, the men's team, will be playing a friendly against Guatemala. So that's a kind of just a tune-up game, I think, right? Get people back playing together. I don't want to say in form, but that could be a strategic play for John Herdman because he will, the domestic leagues are going to be out of season, so he is expecting a number of players, a number of call-ups to be limited to either European-based players or to have the domestic league players just, they'll be coming in cold. So if we're lucky, we'll actually see one of those Camputines as well. That would be nice, calling in a significant number of roster players, showing the ropes to some of these guys that want to check it out. Maybe we'll get to see Marcelo Flores. That'd be nice. All right, everybody. I hope to have the second part of this out, which is a bit of a discussion over Canadian players moving abroad, specifically to the British clubs in England, Scotland, Wales, potentially, and see where that fits in with the new FIFA ranking now that we are a top 50 club. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll be back to talk footy real soon.